Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of which is your best for creating your pastel surfaces. And this is the piece, I've cut it out and separated it from the other one. So this is the Liquitex piece of the white gesso. And we're going to really see how this now works with the pastel as a ground. The Clairefontaine paper is pretty lightweight. Well, it's not lightweight, it's 250 grams, quite hard weight, but it's, as a paper, it's pretty smooth. So this is to give it a ground in order to grip the pastel, and we're going to see how this is. It's a little bit wobbly because of course it's kind of folded up a wee bit when it was wet earlier, so I'm just making sure that we're going to take that down, stick. Right, there we go. Right, now that we're all stuck down, we'll actually get started. So what we're going to do is, I usually use watercolour or pastel and then add water or isopropanol. I just want to get some colour down as my underpainting. In this case I'm just going to use watercolour, and you can see it is a little resistant to water. It seems it has a little bit of, I suppose because it's an acrylic ground, it's going to be a little bit waterproof. So the water's kind of sitting on top, but there is enough pigment. These are Winsor & Newton watercolours. It's the Traveller's palette. So it has a lot of pigment, so I'm not too fussed about that. It is going to go down, and I know it's going to stick to the ground despite it being slightly waterproof. What I'm doing is I'm just going to actually add two different colours, just to try and give us the two contrasting sections of the light and the dark. So the top section of the field and the bottom section of the field, which are the two darker sections. I know it sounds really weird saying that the furthest away part is darker, but actually it's an undercoat of where the rest of it lies on top, and there is a darker section which is a tree line in this case, so it needs to be darker just because those trees in the background are darker. When you put the cooler tones on, you'll see that that will push it further away into the distance, and obviously right at the front you've got your higher saturated colours and your darks, and that's why we've got this wonderful block of colour right at the front. So we're just going to pick out our pastels. We've got quite a few different colours. We've got a lot of these yellows, and we've got these kind of mid-range kind of pinky oranges, I think that's the way to discuss it. And we've got some purples and blues, some for the sky, some for actually just picking out on the tops of the grasses that are in this field behind the flowers, and also for the flowers themselves, which are these beautiful little tiny cornflowers. I'm not really sure, I don't think they're cornflowers, but I don't actually know what they are. I don't really have much knowledge of flowers, but they are a lovely kind of pale violet colour, which will look really nice against the kind of golds and gold greens. You can see it got quite a lot of warm tones. There is a lot of warm tones in this painting. That's just what's in the reference photo. I'm going to stick the reference photo up here in the corner so that you can actually see what we're looking at. Right, so now everything is dry, let's get started with our ducks. This is a Blue Earth pastel, so it's super soft, and you can tell by its wonderfully squared shape, or rectangle depending on which way you're looking at it. It is a really gorgeous colour, but it's great for putting down a really nice dark layer on top of our already dark underpainting. So we're just going to kind of smudge this out a wee bit just to kind of blend it into the paper. What I found with this Liquitex, the gesso, it has got tooth, and you can see that with the way the pastel's going down, and when I smudge it you can kind of see that it's gripping it, but it is still very, very fine and very smooth, so it's not gripping it as much as, say, sanded paper like the Canson Made Tints Touch or Pastel Matte. It's just, it's not fine sanded with a lot of tooth, it's fine sanded with a small amount of tooth, and I think that's going to limit how many layers I actually be able to put down on this, which means this could get a little bit muddy as we go through, but we'll see. Just having some fun with the blue now, and we'll just push that around. I think what I'll do is I'll probably smudge that, smudge it, what am I on about? Smooth it in and that'll just take some of the ground. If you can hear the cat in the background, that's because my youngest one has decided to get bored and she's decided to take it out on us today. She's looking for entertainment, of which we're not giving her. Right, let's smooth that out. So you can kind of see it is gripping it. It's just not gripping it as much as I would probably like, but it is allowing me to put layers down. You can see by the fact I've put this lovely kind of rusty pinky orange colour down on top of the blue earth aubergine, and it's giving us that. And even now, just putting the lighter blue on top of the deeper blue, it is allowing me to layer, just not as much as I would like. And I think I'm just going to have to watch how many layers I put down here. Ooh, dust. Right, so we're just going to smudge that a bit. Right, now I'm going to start getting some of our lights in, which is at the top of the field. Just smudge that in a bit more. Just want to make sure I've got enough down that I can add the grassier colours over the top, otherwise it's just going to really muddy. You can see it is muddying a wee bit at the top there with the tree line. But you can see where we're picking up the tooth, but it is just, yeah, I'm kind of losing it. It is blending together too fast and too much. So I think on a whole, yes, the Liquitex is giving me tooth, but probably not as much as I would like. And I think if I was doing a piece or continuing to use this as a ground, then I'd have to think very carefully before I started about minimizing the number of layers that I want to put down, because it's just not going to hold the amount of pastel I want it to. So these are the flower heads going down, or at least the base for the flower heads. But the problem with flowers is you get into a rhythm and you're just like, right, do I want to put them all down? Do I put some of them down? Where do I put them? Can I evenly space them? One there, and then down there in the dark, and one here, and there, and there, and there, maybe. Yeah, this is kind of like a cluster in the middle here, and then spreading out to the sides a wee bit. Just kind of one up there. Yeah, no, that's looking good. That's looking alright. I think I really would have liked to get more undertone down for the kind of depth of the grasses, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Right, let's get some more of this dark in. So this is the kind of the base colour of the purple flowers. I'm going to stop calling them cornflowers now. I'll just call them purple flowers. That'll do. But kind of like a really kind of deep purpley red tone, like a deep mauve, and that's kind of just going down at the base, and then as the petals go out, it kind of lightens to you know, quite the violet colours. You've got your warmer colours in the centre of the flower, and then as it goes out to the lighter, you tend to get the cooler colours on the tips of the petals, mostly because that's where the light's hitting it. At this time of day, it was kind of early morning, so it's quite a cool light coming from the sky, which is why you kind of get this cooler tone on the edge of the petals. I know this is looking messy at this point. Even I'm thinking, oh god, really? I swear to god I've put too many flowers down, but there is a purpose to this. Yeah, so that's these little yellow flowers going on. They'll have the lighter yellow colour go on the top in a minute, I think, but I just want to get some of their stalks and leaves down, and try and get some more of this background green in, but I think, yeah, it just doesn't want to go on as much as I'd like it to. So I think it's safe to say the Liquitex gesso, yes, it will work as a pastel ground, but you have to be mindful that it won't give you many layers. You may be able to mix it with something, and I think I will be showing a demo where I will maybe half and half the gesso with the texture paste, and we'll see what it is. And I think, as you can see, I've got the texture, I've still got the texture paste piece to go, so we'll see how much kind of grip we get from that. It does feel rougher to the touch, so we'll see how many layers we can actually get on that. It may be because I've brushed it on that it's settled in lines, which may come across too obvious once the pastel's down, and that's going to be a problem texture wise, because that texture is going to be too uniform. So future wise, I might want to think about how the paste is applied to the surface in order to give it tooth, maybe using a sponge or like a fine microfiber cloth that will give me those pocket holes rather than lines and ridges that a paintbrush does. But yeah, that's something to think about. That's the bits and pieces. That's the purple, the lower colour purple going on. I like purple. I need to use more purple in my paintings. I just love it as a colour, it's great. So yes, I will just starting to come to the finishing touches now of this. There's just the lighter colours to add, and then maybe some stalks and some leaves, just add a bit of depth. But I think, yeah, all in all, this has been a success, just not as good as I would have liked it to be. But I think I can improve on that, and then maybe I can use additives. So add in extra things like fine clay making sand, fine glass making sand, river sand, things like that, to maybe add to the gesso to maybe give more tooth. But it's worth playing around with what I can add in to give more texture, because gesso acts really well as a binder and as a glue. So that's definitely something I want to have a go at, and maybe we'll continue this series experimenting on that. But definitely watch out for part 2, where I'll be showing you the results of the texture paste from Daleroni, and we'll see how that goes for the same painting, and whether or not that will or will not give me a better result. If you want to put your comments below on how you think the next piece is going to go, leave your comments below, and I will see you all soon. Enjoy!